DJ's True Crime 2026, turn the lights down low, let the darkness mix. Midnight whispers on an old back road. Every secret's got a story untold. Cold case files and a smoking gun. Truth runs deep where the shadows run. Footsteps echo in an empty hall. Somebody's watching from behind the wall. Red string tied to a photograph. Broken clocks in a shattered past. Every clue's just one more fix. Welcome to 2026. DJ's True Crime 2026. Twisted tales and dangerous tricks. Every lie's got a heavy price. Roll the tape, let's roll the dice. Heartbeat racing, ticket ticks. Truth cuts deep like sharpened sticks. If you're brave, come take your fix. DJ's True Crime 2026. Headlines screaming in black and white. City sirens in the dead of night. Coffee cold on a cluttered desk. One more name on the suspect list. Footprints fade in the falling rain. Every witness recalls the same. A fleeting face, a shadowed mix. Another mystery in 26. Maps on the wall with pins stuck in. Where do we start and where's it end? Truth don't sleep and neither do I. Chasing ghosts that never die. DJ's True Crime 2026. Secrets buried in the politics. Truth is sharper than it looks. Hidden deep between the books. Turn it up, let the story stick. Every twist hits hard and quick. Stay tuned for the final fix. DJ's True Crime 2026. In the midnight city where the neon lights glow. DJ's on the mic and the whole world knows. From the streets to the sky where the blue flames fly. We ride together strong, never asking why. Hear the beat of the drums like a dragon's roar. Every step we take makes the crowd want more. Through the fire in the night, we stand as one. When the music hits hard, that's when we run. We are DJ's Blue Dragon Squad. Rising through the night, breathing blue fire, burning bright in the light. Hear the crowd scream loud when the bass drops hard. Stand up, stand proud for the Blue Dragon Squad. And the sound where the legends grow. Every beat we drop makes the whole place glow. From the underground vibes to the main stage flame. Blue dragons flying high in the game. Hear the thunder roll when the speakers pound. Feel the energy shaking the ground. Every soul in the room feels the spark ignite. Blue dragons rising in the night. We are DJ's Blue Dragon Squad. Rising through the night, breathing blue fire, burning bright in the light. Hear the crowd scream loud when the bass drops hard. Stand up, stand proud for the Blue Dragon Squad. Dragon Squad. No fear, no change, just the rhythm we ride. Blue flames in our hearts, got the squad by our side. When the night falls down and the music's loud, you'll hear the roar of the dragon crowd. We are DJ's Blue Dragon Squad. Hear the legend call. Blue fire rising as the shadows fall. Hands in the air while the beat hits hard. Forever we ride. Blue Dragon Squad.
Sweet boy Sebastian, where are you? The stars stayed up all night waiting too. The next morning your mama came up. You weren't there, your room was empty. Sweet boy Sebastian, where'd you go? Your room we're still left the same as it was. The whole world has been searching, but there was no evidence of where you went. The wind whistles softly in the night and morning. It hums your name and hums the song of I and the tiger. It's so quiet without your laughter and smile. Life gets harder and harder every day. Sweet boy Sebastian, where have you gone? Everyone has searched through forests and water and near your house with no sighting or sin. If you're hiding, come out and come back. Sebastian, your dad is worried, and so is the whole wide world. Sebastian, where are you? Please show us signs wherever you may be. We are your army, sweet boy Sebastian, so please come home. So please.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Put a 1 in the chat or a thumbs up in the chat if you guys can all hear me. For those in the bushes, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and also get my channel out into the YouTube algorithm. That would help so much. Jacob, where are you? Where's my mods at? Jacob, here you go. Here's the link. Yes, I do. If you guys go out and come back in, you guys will, the chat is opened. For those in the bushes, if you don't see the chat, go out and come back in.
Hello there.
Hi. Hello. Just waiting for more people to come in and then we'll get started. How is everyone's day going? Hi, Dan. Hi, Forrest Nelson. Really, Jacob? Alien boy? Alien boy up in here. Oh my. My brain. We're just waiting for more people to come in, so just chat if you want to, and hopefully more people come. And okay, well, hopefully more people come in. We will get started. Hello to everyone that's here, and hello to the people that are in the bushes. Don't be scared to come into chat. It's okay, I won't bite. So today's live stream is what are Chris and Katie not saying? So I am going to play a video. So just let me get this up and running. Let's listen to some of the words they've said and what we think they haven't said.
Excuse me, sir. How old were you when you made your first million?
Oh my goodness. And if one of my mods can please drop bed crime stories in the chat, that would be very much appreciated.
Guys, T here from Bed Crime Stories, second video of the day. If you haven't watched the first one, go back and see it. I'm going to read you an article that appeared today on the website for NBC News. The article is by reporter Anna Turning. It reads, Katie Proudfoot recalls the evening of Sunday, February 25th, 2024 as a typical one at home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Her 15-year-old son, Sebastian Rogers, got ready for bed around 9 p.m., said, "I love you" to his mom and his 2 dogs, and then headed to his bedroom for the night. Katie remembers hearing a noise coming from Sebastian's room around 10 p.m. I hollered out to him and he answered me, Katie said. I didn't think a whole lot of it. About an hour later, Katie went to bed. She had no idea her life would be very different in the morning. Monday morning, Katie went to her son's room. It was about 6 in the morning when I went to wake him up for school. Katie said, I went in his room and I was like, dude, time to get up. Okay, so that's new information there. We've never.
So, in my opinion, let me pause there for a minute. In my opinion, she says, dude, time to get up. But yet, in the past, she said when she went to go wake Sebastian up, he wasn't there. So, there's a whole crap load of stories that she's putting out there. That KK is putting out there. Very interesting.
Heard her say that part. Dude, time to get up. By the way, who says that to an empty bed? Back to the article. Normally he will turn and look, and he didn't. And I realized he wasn't in his bed, Katie said. The following moments are every parent's worst nightmare. Quote, I looked everywhere in and around the house and I couldn't find him, Katie said. I checked his bathroom and he wasn't in there. Okay, this is T. That's also new information. We didn't hear about her checking the bathroom, at least not specifically.
Yet it took her 3 minutes to go around the whole house to try to find Sebastian. In my opinion, it doesn't take 3 minutes. It takes longer than that.
Back to the article. And I was like, okay, well, maybe he went to the kitchen, maybe he got up before me. And so I went through the house. And when I didn't see him is when I started to panic a little bit. Typo, that was, what did it say? And when I didn't see him is when I was starting to panic a little bit, Katie said. Quote, And I ran through like literally every area of the house, everywhere. And that's when I really started to panic, end quote. So all of those details and the emphasis on looking through every room, that's pretty much new because she did say in an initial interview that, mind you, it was all done in like 1 minute. Katie says she jumped in her car and began driving around the neighborhood. Katie also called her husband, Chris, Sebastian's stepfather, who was out of town on a business.
Let me pause there for a minute. Katie calls her husband instead of calling 911. Make that make sense. It doesn't make sense, in my opinion. First thing you should do if you can't find your son anywhere is pick up the phone and call 911 and let them know that you can't find your son anywhere. And don't make up bullcrap stories, in my opinion.
Business trip at the time. What? T here. Business trip? I don't think so. I mean, that's not how they've referred to it before. He was working on a construction site in Memphis.
If you're dealing with a car accident injury,
It's like terror, Katie told Dateline. What happened? Where did he go? I was in my car and I stopped and I asked one of the ladies walking her dog, and she was like, no, I haven't seen him. And it really like started to kick in at that point, Katie said. Katie said she then headed to Sebastian's school and got on a 3-way call with Chris and the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. By the time she got there, she was told to turn around and head home because law enforcement was headed to their house.
Okay, let me pause there for a minute. So, what happened is KK drove down the road, 31 seconds down the road, looking for her son with her windows rolled up. How is that searching for your son? In my opinion, if you know where something is, you don't have to go and search for it. That's my opinion.
That's different wording now as well, because previously they said that Chris told her to turn around and go home because law enforcement was headed there. And that's very important because if they really were on a 3-way, then Katie would have heard that for herself, and Chris would not have had to tell her to go back to the house. Okay, the stories are not the same. And when the stories aren't the same, somebody or someone may be lying. That's Deception Detective 101. Back to the article where they're quoting Katie saying this. It was just like more and more people were coming and everyone was looking. And every time someone came back and they didn't have him, end quote, Katie couldn't finish the thought. Sebastian is on the autism spectrum. Katie says you wouldn't recognize him as a special needs person just by looking at him. He is smart and capable and functional, but he does have areas that he struggles in, end quote. Katie told Dateline that Sebastian does respond differently in certain situations. He does have that sensory issue with loud noises, specifically like spontaneous ones. So he does avoid sudden loud noises, she said. He also hates bugs and would avoid any area where he saw one, according to his mother. What Sebastian loves.
Let me pause there for a minute. Okay, so he hates bugs, but yet CP and KK said from the very beginning that Sebastian stepped foot onto the front porch without shoes on and went poof right into thin air. What does poof into thin air mean, KK and CP? Can you answer that? What other things are you not saying? Just an honest question, asking for a bunch of friends. Because, you know, if he doesn't like bugs, he wouldn't have just ran off without shoes. So in my opinion, he got carried out.
Is water. Swims like a fish, Katie said. Okay. The article continues. The search efforts for Sebastian were immediate and intense.
Anytime you see a woman walking around
Very large-scale response, Sheriff Eric Craddock of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office told Dateline via email. Craddock directed Dateline to the TBI newsroom for more information. That morning, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office issued a missing persons report to begin efforts to locate Sebastian. A TBI endangered child alert was pushed out and was then elevated to a statewide Amber Alert, the website states. Due to Sebastian's love of water, quote, pools in the neighborhood were searched. Dive teams were brought in, and bodies of water around the neighborhood and beyond that area were searched, including caves. In his email to Dateline, Sheriff Craddock elaborated on what resources were used in the search for Sebastian. Here's a quote. Everything, foot, canine, drone, air assets, fixed wing and helicopter, horse, mounted patrol, USAR, resources from across the state, and federal government assisted with the case. The search during the week he went missing was extremely large scale, end quote. The sheriff's office even employed some unconventional search methods in its attempt to locate Sebastian. Notably, they encouraged those participating in the search to play Sebastian's favorite music in an attempt to draw him out.
Hi, Linda.
Quote, this advice was called in by a citizen. I tried and will continue to try anything to bring a resolution to this case, end quote, Craddock said. That's interesting. They said the advice to play Sebastian's favorite music was called in by a citizen. So was that somebody in the neighborhood? Who would that have been if it wasn't Seth, Katie, or Chris? Despite the intense search efforts, no clues were turned up that led authorities to Sebastian's whereabouts. According to Sheriff Craddock, the Amber Alert for Sebastian is still active. Katie believes that wherever Sebastian went, quote, he had every intention of coming back home, end quote. She has never said that before. He had every intention of coming back home. Okay, Katie. He was excited to start taking agriculture classes at school? Really, we've never heard that before, and we are now a year into him being missing. The article then quotes Katie again. They actually have animals in the school that the kids will work with as they advance through the classes. And that was what he really wanted. He wanted to get in there and start working with the animals, end quote. That's another very interesting detail. You think she would have shared that before, but I am thinking that in this interview,
But she
Katie
didn't.
not saying a whole lot wasn't going to really look very good. It wouldn't go down well on Dateline. So I'm assuming she's adding this filler info now to perhaps portray a portrait of a mother who is very invested in her child, very aware of what he wants to do at school, what his dreams are, etc. Very interesting. Sheriff Craddock wants to assure the public that the investigation into Sebastian's disappearance is active and ongoing. Here's another quote from Sheriff Craddock. Our team is committed to following every lead, analyzing every piece of evidence, and uncovering the truth about what happened to Sebastian Rogers. We understand the community's deep concern and the desire for answers, and we share that concern. However, I urge everyone to rely on verified information from law enforcement rather than online speculation. Misinformation can hinder the investigation and distract from our efforts to bring Sebastian home, end quote. The article goes on to say the sheriff would not comment on whether authorities suspect foul play or have any persons of interest in the case. Now that's very interesting because in the past they have said that they don't have any evidence of foul play. So now they don't want to comment about it. That is very interesting. And I would say that that's very good news for those of us who suspect there is foul play. Okay, here's another quote from him. It reads, our priority is finding Sebastian and bringing resolution to his family and this community. If you have any credible information, we ask that you come forward and report it to the appropriate authorities. Together, we will seek justice and the truth, end quote. At the time of his disappearance, Sebastian was 5'5" and 120 pounds.
Since the day you were born, a guardian angel has been watching over you. He's seen your struggles, your regrets, your...
End quote. Doubtful. I think Sebastian was more like 113 pounds, if that, and he would have had to be wet. He would be 16 years old today. He has brown eyes, blonde brown hair, and was...
Well, okay, so this video is from a year ago, but he would be 17 now. He will be turning 18 in December on the 7th.
Last known to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, and black framed glasses. The Proudfoots believe Sebastian may not have been wearing shoes when he disappeared. Here's a quote. Every pair of shoes in this house have been accounted for, Chris Proudfoot told Dateline. Quote, all the shoes that I can think of that we had in the house, end quote. The article goes on to say, Katie and Chris want to make the public aware of some of Sebastian's identifying features and tendencies.
Good point.
Wow, a year out and only now we're getting this info? He has large freckles on the back of his neck. That's absolutely new info. And he walks on his toes. We noticed that in the Roadhouse video, but Katie and Chris have never mentioned that until now. He also has a unique run. They did mention the run in the past, putting his arms slightly behind his back and leaning forward. They urge anyone who thinks they see Sebastian to not approach him, but instead take pictures and call 911. Chris said, quote, "Let law enforcement handle it if somebody spots him, but please stay vigilant," end quote. The TBI newsroom asked anyone with credible information about Sebastian to reach out through the TBI tip line at 1-800-TBI-FIND. If the tip includes a possible sighting, pictures should be sent to tips2tbi@tbi.tn.gov. The sheriff urges any photographic information be sent immediately, as time may be of the essence in relevant sightings. And guys, keep in mind, the FBI is offering a reward of $50,000 for any information leading to the whereabouts of Sebastian Rogers. And of course, we know that Dog the Bounty Hunter and At Night Media have a reward up to the amount of $447,000. Oh my goodness. If you know something and you need money, you better call. But of course, only call if you have a legitimate tip. Don't waste their time with BS. Okay, so obviously Dateline is doing an episode on the Sebastian Rogers case. I am absolutely flabbergasted that Katie is only now sharing this information about the freckles on Sebastian's back, his desire to take agriculture classes. Unbelievable that only now is she saying all this stuff. I feel like this is for the public. This is for Dateline. This is to appear like a caring parent who really knows everything about her son. All of this stuff would have been relevant back in the beginning. You know, she also says he hates bugs and would avoid any area where he saw one. So are we really supposed to believe that Sebastian went out in the middle of the night when it was chilly without his shoes, and he's a boy who hates bugs? I mean, I don't think he'd want to be outside where he couldn't see the bugs that he would be stepping on barefoot. You dig what I'm saying? You dig what I'm laying down here? By the way, if you're watching this on TikTok, you need to go over to my YouTube channel, Bed Crime Stories. You'll see the witch logo. Over there is where I will post on Friday, and that's where you need to leave the list of songs if you want your name entered in the raffle. While you're there, subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate that so very much. Thank you guys. Bye.
Do you owe more than $10,000 in Canada on things like credit cards, payday loans, or lines of credit?
Hello. Sebastian Rogers. I did. Sebastian Rogers, little known first interview with Katie and Chris Proudfoot, very revealing. Bed Crime Stories.
Please smash the like button. It's a free way you can help. And now, without further ado, let's dig in.
I am a little bit.
Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, T. If you like all things true crime, if you like it delivered in a peaceful, tranquil manner, if you like it clear and concise without drama, then I highly recommend you subscribe. And if you like what you hear, please smash the like button. It's a free way you can help. And now, without further ado, let's dig in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Have you guys heard the interview that Chris and Katie Proudfoot did on a YouTube channel called Duchess? Apparently, the interview was done 7 days after the Proudfoots reported Sebastian missing. When I first looked at the video, it looked like it had been posted 2 months ago, and I think it was. That led me to believe that the interview took place 1 month into Sebastian's disappearance. But as I listened to it, it became clear that the interview actually was taking place 7 days after Chris and Katie reported Sebastian missing. So this would actually be the first interview that they did. Their first interview with the media took place the day after this interview, from what I can tell. And the Chronicles of Olivia interview took place on March 18th. I wanted to share some sound bites from this interview. Note that Chris and Katie did not show their faces, so it was just voices. And I'll leave a link to the Duchess channel and to this video in particular in the description, just in case you haven't listened to the whole thing. What I want you to listen for is the emotion in Katie Proudfoot's voice at various points. So if this was 7 days after Sebastian went missing, it should have been very raw for her. And at places in this interview, she does sound like she's crying and she's deeply upset. Chris Proudfoot, on the other hand, is cool as a cucumber. He's very detached, and the wording he uses to refer to Katie and to Sebastian is very interesting. I also noticed that Katie wanted to say things about Sebastian, positive things about him at various points, but either Chris or the interview.
KP, in my opinion, hasn't been emotional. Seth has been emotional, very emotional. His eyes have been swollen from crying so much. KP, in my opinion, knows where Sebastian is.
Viewer Duchess talks over Katie, so we can't hear what she's saying, and it's pretty maddening because obviously Katie Proudfoot, as supposedly the last person who was with Sebastian, her experiences and what she has to say are critically important. Let's begin.
So I guess I will just kind of start out with, tell me what happened the day that Sebastian went missing. I know that his mom said that he was having a good day. He had had a great weekend. So do you want to walk us through what that looks like again for everybody?
He did have a really good weekend, actually. When we come home from having supper that evening, he was playing. When he went to bed, when I told him to go to bed, he said, "I love you, Mama," and he said, "I love you, Puppies." A little later in the evening, I myself went to bed, and when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here.
Did you hear Katie say about Sebastian, quote, "He was playing when he went to bed, when I told him to go to bed." So she catches herself there. She says, when he went to bed, and then she quickly changes it to when I told him to go to bed. She also...
When I told him to go to bed. Okay. In my opinion, KK changes her story so much, no one knows what to believe out of her. In my opinion, she is a liar.
Says a little later, I myself went to bed. So I do feel like she caught herself and that perhaps she had deviated from a narrative, maybe, that she and Chris had put together. And one of the details was that she told him to go to bed. What I also found interesting is that she does not say the times that these things occurred. Now, after I listened to the full interview, I realized that she had shared times with this Duchess person before they sat down for this recorded chat. But it takes Duchess later to bring those specific details into the conversation.
And when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here.
And you did tell me that Sebastian is not a runner.
He's not.
Monday CRM is so intuitive, I think it just read my mind. Again.
Take your time.
Sebastian does not have a history of running. I mean, the young man doesn't go outside very much. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood knows him.
Sebastian does not have a history of running. He never ran away, in my opinion.
To himself, so to speak. Between the hours of, 12 and 6, he has basically vanished. Walked out of the house, door was locked, and gone.
Did you hear how Chris referred to Sebastian as the young man? He also said the young man doesn't go outside. So now why would he walk out that door that night when in this interview, Chris says he doesn't go outside all that much? We've heard in other interviews that he was barefoot. He hates to go outside barefoot. He also is terrified of insects and he doesn't like to get dirty. Makes no sense that Sebastian would, on his own accord, walk out that door. I'll say it again and again and again. And the Proudfoots are basically telling us the same thing when they talk about his personality.
Take the phone. None of his shoes are missing.
Now, you told me that night that, now, Chris, you were at work. You were out of town at work, so you were not even home.
Correct, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m., and then you got up off the couch and you went to bed, and you said that was around midnight. And nothing was unusual at that point. Everything seemed okay.
There's actually a piece of, so to make something very crystal clear, so that way there's transparency across the board. Me and the mom were on the phone at 9:43 or 9:46 in the evening. We stayed on the phone for quite some time. The call logs have been verified by all the police departments, TBI included.
But CP, my question is, how was
we stayed on the phone. It was very late.
How was KP doing homework and sleeping at the same time and also hearing a thud upstairs? Make that make sense.
Lengthy. Mom did slightly start falling asleep while she was on the couch. I had said, hey, you need to wake up, put the dogs up, go to bed. Now, mind you, that was right around midnight, just before midnight or right around midnight.
So there's no mention of a thud or any kind of noise at 10 p.m. during this interview. Also, Chris refers to Katie as the mom. Very detached, very distant, and conveniently, he makes it known that he was away at work. It's almost like he's gleeful because he was nowhere near the alleged crime scene. It is also very interesting that Katie does not mention being on the phone with Chris for like 3 hours. Only he later brings that into the narrative. It's like she forgot about that detail. How do you forget about a 3-hour phone call on the night that your son vanished? And Chris sets the timeline for the disappearance. He says it happened sometime between midnight and Katie went to bed and 6 a.m. when she woke up and went to get Sebastian and wake him up. And I know that a lot of you have said and questioned, How does Chris know when he wasn't even there? How can he be so sure of all these things? And if Sebastian went to bed at 9 and there was no noise and nothing happened, and she went to bed at midnight, how do they know that Sebastian disappeared somewhere between midnight and 6? Is that why they say that Katie fell asleep on the sofa? Because she would have been downstairs looking at that front door or near that front door, and therefore Sebastian could not have come out of his bedroom and walked out the front door until she went to bed at midnight. Because I'll tell you what, number one, I never have 3-hour conversations with my husband, like ever, whether it's during the day or at night. And if I were to have a 3-hour conversation late at night, I would do it from the comfort of my bed. Why is Katie on the couch and not in bed? Is that an important detail? Because they have to make it seem like Sebastian could not have walked out the front door until midnight. What prevented him from leaving, say, after 9 p.m. when he went to bed? They're saying they don't know what happened to him, so why have they ruled out that he left somewhere between 9 and 11 p.m. maybe?
So then mom go to bed and wakes up early in the morning to go wake her son up, get him ready for school. And now we have a worried mom who can't find her son in the house. Mom made an effort to look and search several times. Mom has called me at the time and asked me, she was like, I can't find him. I was like, do what? And she goes, yeah, I cannot find him. I said, well, hang on. I made the phone call and reported it to the sheriff's department because that's what we're supposed to do. And within 10 minutes, the sheriffs were dispatched to the location.
As Chris is telling the story, he pauses a lot. It's like he has to try to recall what he's going to say next. That's not how things flow when somebody is telling the truth.
Salads for your fast-paced lifestyle that nourish you and give you the energy to do everything you love.
It flows naturally. You don't have to hesitate. It's all there because the truth is the truth and there's no need to think about it. And why is he telling all this part of the story when he wasn't even there? Katie should be the one giving that account. I feel like this is Chris's story because Chris is the person who made it up. Allegedly, just my opinion, I'm speculating. And again, he's very detached. He's referring to Katie as the mom or mom. He refers to Sebastian as her son, not our son. This our son stuff is something that Chris has learned over the past 3 months from criticism. So he's adapting, in my opinion, allegedly.
And you had told me that there hadn't been any particular situation that had occurred where you felt like there would have been something that happened. And I also had asked you if there were any friends that Sebastian might have possibly left the house with, or if he had any contact with anyone on social media.
Okay, bye, Jacob.
Do you want to comment about that again?
He doesn't have a social media.
Okay.
And the only friends that he had were a couple of kids in school.
Okay.
All the kids that have had any interaction with him have been interviewed and asked.
Okay.
We as parents know how social media can be.
Right.
And seeing how kids can be easily manipulated.
He's very young in mind.
Yes, he may be.
Right.
He's about 15, and he's 15 in age in his body, but his mind is not caught up to his body. But that is something that goes through with autistic children, as everybody would know.
Right.
But for the record, I am a very strict parent. He does not have social media, not in our household. He doesn't online game. I'm pretty strict when it comes to that kind of situation.
Well, that's good. That's good, Chris, that you have control of that, because social media can be very dangerous for young kids because they don't realize who they may be talking to. on social media. So it's always good to have that awareness and to make sure you're monitoring, what your kids are doing. So I had asked you both, did you have any idea what would make Sebastian want to suddenly leave the house? And you told me, well, that's the $1 million question that everybody wants to know. All the detectives, they've all asked that same question. What is it that happened that caused him to leave the house? And I know you must be so worried and so concerned. Is there anything, if Sebastian were listening to this live stream?
In my opinion, CP and KK are not concerned about their son. I mean, yeah, about Sebastian. In my opinion, CP and KK know where Sebastian is. So why would they be worried? That would be my next question.
Right now, if you knew that he was out there, what would you want to tell him?
That we love you and to come home.
I mean, it's pretty simple. This boy has a very large family that everybody is asking the question, where are you? We love you, and please come home.
You notice how Duchess has to be the one to say, I'm sure you're very worried. Katie and Chris don't say that. They don't say, we don't know where he is. We don't know if he's safe. We don't know if he has anything to eat. We don't know if he's afraid. Duchess also has to prompt Katie and Chris to address Sebastian, just in case he's out there somewhere listening. We've heard from experts that parents with missing children don't need to be prompted to do this. This is something that's automatic. It comes out of them the minute they're in front of the media. So Duchess has enough sense to prompt them to do these things because she's probably seen parents of missing children before. And she knows what they typically say when they're handed a microphone. We also hear them saying that although Sebastian is 15 in age and body, mentally he's much younger. That has been a consistent message from all the parents, from Seth Rogers, the biological father, and Katie and Chris Proudfoot.
We definitely need to find him as soon as possible. If you live in this area, please search your property every day. He could be on the move. Just because you've already searched your property one time doesn't mean that you don't need to continue to search your property on a daily basis just to be sure. If you have a lot of land, it needs to be searched, just to be sure, because he may be lost. He may be somewhere and he can't find his way back. So that's why it's very critical. Can you talk to me about the search and rescue efforts? Are they searching on land?
In my opinion, and allegedly, the search and rescue efforts have not gone anywhere lately. They haven't been doing anything, in my opinion.
Air. There also have dive teams there. What can you tell us about that?
So currently, as of today, the National Guard was also brought in to help with the search, but they have had fixed wing aircraft, helicopters, horseback ATVs, side by side, door to door, scouring every neighborhood possible. The outreach from the community and various counties has been extremely welcoming, loved. We've been told this is probably one of the largest searches that they've conducted with so much input that it's a case to be studied for sure.
To me, Chris saying that this is a case to be studied, it's almost like he's proud of it. Maybe he is the mastermind of
Yeah, Dan, can you take a screenshot of that message and of that person's message and send it to Lolly, please? And yeah, Linda, I agree. I totally agree. It hasn't gone far enough. I think they need to search further. Thank you.
The perfect crime. Allegedly, in my opinion, I'm just saying it's a weird thing to say 7 days out. And obviously, Chris is not too emotionally worked up over Sebastian's disappearance. There is no hint of emotion. There are no tears flowing from him. Again, he is very detached when he's talking about Sebastian and also when he's talking about Katie and her son.
A lot of people that are praying and supporting you right now. Was his ask, would he be able to ride a city bus?
Nothing is off the table as far as abilities. The young man get on a bus, I'm sure he could.
We've never done it before.
We've never rode a city bus, so I don't think he understands the process. He doesn't have any sense of money. He may have, like, let's say a $20 bill in his hand, but he doesn't truly understand what $20 would get him.
He's good
Right.
at it, but he doesn't
I understand.
time and money.
And see,
Did you hear Katie try to pipe in that he's good at math? Sebastian is good at math, but he doesn't understand time and money.
and single mom says, does he want his real father? Maybe. I'm just asking. Well, it turns out, single mom, that, you know, he sees his real father every other weekend, and the real father, he is heavily involved in this situation and is aware, and he doesn't know where Sebastian is either, correct?
Correct. I mean, I can tell you this.
His father's very much involved in his life.
Thank
Yes,
you.
very much involved in his life. The relationship between all three of us as parents is not your common one. I mean, me and the father talk on a regular basis. We call each other. We talk. Hey, if we heard anything, how's he doing? Is he acting up? You know, I mean, it's not. There's no really animosity in between the parents.
That's a lie. We know there is animosity between Seth Rogers and Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot. Katie is very angry with Seth, and she has been for a long time. It's not just since Sebastian went missing. We know from the divorce papers that there's a lot of animosity and a lot of accusations. And Chris depicting their relationship as the three parents being so unusual and not common, implying that it's such a great relationship. Well, that's just not true, because Seth Rogers has said he was unaware of the CPS reports that were made on the Proudfoot home. So there was a lack of honesty between these three people. Seth only found out about those reports after Sebastian went missing. So Chris is not portraying the relationship in an authentic and honest manner. He's sugarcoating it. Why is he doing that? Why does he have a need to make the relationship between the two households look better than it is?
They say, did he have any special interest, like trains, parks, friends, maybe a school bus route that he loved? My son elopes and loves trains, so he heads to the tracks.
He loves playgrounds.
Yeah, he loves playgrounds.
Hi, Lady for Justice.
He loves to play. I give him that. Friends-wise,
He wants friends.
Sebastian, his idea of his friend is right now is what he has two kids that he talks to at school, but he is extremely socially awkward. And so it's very difficult for him to make friends, which has been this boy's only lifelong dream. He Christmas, what do you want for Christmas? I want friends. Birthday, I want friends. anything that he could do to get a friend, he would love to do it, which is potentially dangerous because that could open up doors if for somebody to say, hey, I'll be your friend, and potentially cause harm.
Did you hear Chris say he loves to play? I'll give him that. Like, that's the only positive thing he can say about Sebastian. I'll give him that much. He then goes on to describe how socially awkward Sebastian is. Well, we've been hearing different stories that he did have some friends at school. It is very sad to hear that he asked repeatedly for friends. But is that true? And is that the only thing that he wanted? Did he maybe also want a kind and patient stepfather who perhaps wasn't so strict, wasn't so mean-spirited, allegedly, who maybe really did cultivate a love
Oh yeah,
for him?
he is.
We know he wanted to get
I
some
agree with you.
cats to replace the ones that he had to get rid of when his mother decided to marry Chris Proudfoot.
Kim Holmes asked if there's any cameras in the area, and I did see, Kim, that they were asking for people that had any Ring doorbell footage or any businesses that had camera footage. Talk to us about that, Chris. We did speak about that briefly earlier, about the people getting all the footage, but they haven't found anything.
Our entire neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods have voluntarily and with generosity given up any video footage that they've got. I mean, they have let the departments come in and view and monitor. So as far as cameras, everybody has turned over everything. There's thousands of hours of stuff that they are combing through to try to find an answer.
I'm hoping that law enforcement is still going through all that footage and that perhaps maybe there still is something that they haven't yet seen that will lead to answers. You know, I'm also finding it interesting that when Katie was seemingly crying, we don't hear Chris say anything like, oh, honey, you know, like showing compassion for her tears, realizing that she could probably use a hug in that moment. I know if my husband was sitting next to me and I was crying about a family member who's missing, especially a child, he would be saying, oh, honey, it's going to be okay. You know, we're going to find him.
You're welcome.
Not just sitting there and being all businesslike. It's sort of like in these moments, Katie is experiencing pain at the loss of Sebastian, but Chris is not. He's just there to tell the story.
He probably knows the route to his father's house, so maybe he was in the process of heading in that direction.
That has not been ruled out. I mean, like I said, the search that they are conducting is extremely widespread and thorough.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody is ruling that out as a possibility.
But normally when he wants to go to his dad's, he just says so. And we just call his dad.
Yeah, I mean, dad will come down here. We meet him halfway. I mean, he's never wanted to go to his dad's and not been able to go. Let's put it that way.
Right.
I mean,
thank you for being a member for 6 months. All of this is very, very helpful to help us, you know, better understand.
Hang on, I have to skip
the situation that we're dealing with.
Did you hear Katie try to say something? She says, I mean, and then Duchess cuts her off. That's really unfortunate because we want to let Katie say everything she wants to say. Don't cut her off. Let her roll with it. Listen to that one more time.
I mean, thank you for being a member for 6 months.
I mean,
what did she want to say? Yeah. Thank her later for being a member for 6 months.
Facebook that it looked like everybody was asked to wear green on Friday because green is Sebastian's favorite color. What else can you tell us about Sebastian?
He's an avid Minecraft fan. Loves the color green. He's got the goofiest and quirky smile in the world. I don't think anybody could mimic it, to be honest with you.
He looks like he's such a sweet young man. He
loves to dance. That boy he'll dance his tail off.
But yet in the past they have talked horribly about him. In my opinion, they don't make any sense at all. They used forceful punishment on Sebastian. How is that loving and caring? In my opinion, Chris and Katie are horrible towards Sebastian.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Dancing is good for you. It's good exercise too.
What Chris can tell us about Sebastian appears to be very limited. He always mentions the Minecraft thing. Then he repeats that Sebastian's favorite color is green. Duchess just said that. You can't come up with anything other than that, Chris? And by the way, Katie got cut off here again. She tried to say something. Take a listen.
Mimic it, to be honest with you.
He looks like he's such a sweet young man.
In my opinion, the reason how come Katie keeps on getting cut off is because Chris doesn't want him to say her to say anything in order to get caught in their lies, in my opinion.
Did you hear Katie try to say he is, as in he is a sweet young man? Again, Duchess was trying to soften the way Chris was talking about Sebastian having the goofiest and quirkiest smile. That's Chris making fun of Sebastian, and he's shading him there for having a goofy smile.
I just really hope they can find some answers. Now, I did ask you guys because I know that sometimes when we're looking for autistic children that go missing, a lot of times people are concerned that they may be attracted to go towards the water. So talk to us about that. Is he a good swimmer? Does he like to get in the water? I think you did mention some things about that to me earlier.
So he's a fish in the water. I'm gonna tell you right now that but here's the distinction. He is not a child that likes to get dirty. He can't stand his hands dirty. He can't stand bugs. He is fearful of flies and things. So if he swims, he is a pool kid. He's not I'm a river and a stream kind of kid. He is swimming pool bound.
Duchess cut Katie off once again. Chris jumps in, and the way he talks about Sebastian.
CP always likes to jump in and cut people off. That's what he does, allegedly, in my opinion.
Is almost like, well, Sebastian's kind of a sissy. He only likes pools. You won't get him in a river or a pond. He hates being dirty. He doesn't like insects or flies. He's afraid of them. It's almost like he's painting him out to be something of a wimp. That's how it's coming across to me. Just my opinion. Personally, I get the feeling that Sebastian did not live up to Chris's expectations of what a male child should be like. He should be tough, want to go out and hunt, not be afraid of anything, take on not only flies and insects, but also bears. You know what I mean? Just my opinion.
Now, I know that you said there was some misinformation that was going around and you wanted to make a clarification. You did tell me that TBI, was assisting, but that there was some confusion. People thought that FBI was actually assisting in this case. Talk to me about what you spoke about earlier me on our phone call about how FBI is, that they were consulted, and the card team, I guess there is a discussion going on as to whether he qualifies as, for the child abduction response team.
So the FBI is not physically on the ground. Somewhere in one of the news clips, I think it was reported that the FBI had made it on the ground. They're not. TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, has reached out to the behavioral analysis team, or their CART team, and they are trying to work with them from a distance. They're not physically present, to help in any way, form, shape that they can render their assistance.
Watch what
What happens when a 50-year-old man walks?
Okay.
Chris does seem to know every detail of the case.
In my opinion, the reason why CP knows every detail of the case is because he was part of Sebastian going missing, in my opinion, and allegedly.
The ground, who's involved, when they're getting involved. He's keeping a very close watch on things for a guy who's very cool as a cucumber.
Have burner phones been looked into? I know some teens sneak phones from their parents, or maybe his computer use at school to see if he has been chatting.
Evidence of a secret phone.
Okay, good. Because digital evidence is really important. They want to make sure that he's not speaking to anybody. This is such an unusual case.
This case is extremely unusual. Like I said before, we are pretty strict when it comes to certain things. As far as comms, communication, electronic devices, there was only one phone that he had. It was extremely locked down. He had access to his phone, his text message, to only his contacts list, a camera, and a calculator, and that is it.
He's a pretty happy kid usually.
Did you hear Katie trying to get something in and Duchess talking over her again? But at some point, Katie does get her words out. And I'll admit here, I believe that Katie is showing sincere emotion here. I hear a lot of tears. I hear a lot of sadness in the background with her. Again, this interview took place either 7 or 8 days after Sebastian was reported missing. So this is very raw. This is very new to Katie. And I do feel like she's sad. Chris, not so much. In fact, not at all. Which does make me wonder if this was the ultimatum. Katie, it's either me or Sebastian. And because of that custody case over Chris's daughter, Faith, perhaps he said, I'm not waiting until this summer. Because, of course, Seth Rogers was planning to take over as the full-time parent to Sebastian.
And I know that you love him very much. I know that I can remember earlier in our conversation, you were referring to him as Bubba. And I think that's sweet. I call my son Bubba also. So that really tore at my heartstrings because my son, he's 30, but he's still Bubba to me. So that name is going to stick forever. It's just how it is.
She does it again. Duchess cuts Katie off. Katie's trying to tell her story about Bubba, and instead
let me pause there. Because the reason why people cut KP and CP off is because some of them are part of Sebastian's disappearance and they don't want him found. That's just my opinion. So KK and CP, where is Sebastian? That's what I want to know. That's what everyone wants to know.
Hostess jumps in and has to tell us about her son, Bubba, who's still alive. This interview is supposed to be about Sebastian. Let Katie talk about Sebastian. Try not to cut her off. If you want to be Barbara Walters, take some notes. Do not cut your interviewee off right when they're about to say something. I'm sorry, I know Duchess is probably not a professional interviewer, but I'm saying it's frustrating. I want to hear what Katie has to say, and she's just getting drowned out between Duchess and Chris. I'm going to end it here. Let me know if you want me to continue with this particular interview. It's about an hour and 51 minutes long. Let me know in the comments. Smash that like button if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time on Bed Crime Stories.
So, what other things are CP and KK not saying? That's what I would like to know. That's what all of us would like to know. What other things are they not saying? Are they leaving a lot of the information out, I wonder? Oh yeah. I believe it. So tomorrow there's not going to be a live, but on Monday I'm gonna set a live stream for Monday, so be on the lookout for that. And for those in the bushes, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and also share my channel out into the YouTube algorithm, everyone. And also, I dearly appreciate each and every one of you for joining in on my stream today. I love you all dearly, and until next time, peace.